Hi, I'm Jen. I am the maker behind Space for Sunflowers, and welcome to my crafty business chaos channel. This week I will be sharing the crochet and knit makes that I have made in preparation for my upcoming market season, as well as my entry for week 7 of Crochet Roulette 2025 challenge on YouTube and Instagram. Yeah, as well as just some general chaos as I try to work this crafty business. So grab a snack, grab a project, grab a hot beverage if it's as cold there as it is here. Which, I mean, I'm in the South, it's probably colder where you are, unless you're also in the South. Anyway, and let's get into this week. So first off, let's talk about the upcoming market season and how absolutely over the top in denial I am about what I can get done before this season kicks off. I have a market on Saturday. It is a one I haven't done before, downtown Raleigh, called the Foodie Fest or Foodie Fair. And they do it semi-regularly. I will also be at this market in November, so I'm pretty excited about it, but it sounds like it's a larger market. It's with a well-known organizer in the area I have been eyeing their events, but have been sort of intimidated to apply for their events because I know they have a membership program, and I was always under the impression that they would only pick their members to be in their events. But then this fall came and this Foodie Fest had been on my radar since like March of this year, and I hadn't had a chance to apply to it. And I was like, you know what, let's try it. Let's give it a shot. And I got in for both October and November. So very excited. I have some foodie makes that I bring to my regular markets. I have some new foodie makes that I'll be debuting at this market. So I'm just really excited to be there for a fun theme that isn't too like specific, since foodie could be a wide variety of things. Like we could have actual literal food, or we could have food adjacent things, or we could just ignore food altogether, cooking. I mean, there's so many different options for a fair or a fest or a market like this. So I'm very excited about that. I've also just yesterday received an email from Square that it was my 1-year Square anniversary. So I have officially been in business now for 1 year as Space for Sunflowers, and this market will kick off my second year in business. So I'm very excited about that as well. Yeah. So I said I'm in denial, and I am. I am in denial about what I can get done in time for this market. I know last week, if you watched the video, I shared my written lists that I had made in my planner. I have condensed the makes that are not yet made into a single list in this week's planner, or spread in my planner. And it's, I know intellectually, if that's the right word, that this is not going to get done before Saturday and priced and inventoried and packaged up and ready to go. But I don't want to admit it to myself emotionally that this is going to get done. So that's where we're at in the denial. Let me just share this week's spread and the list that spans the entire bottom of my weekly spread in my planner. There it is. I believe I did a count of this, my inventory software. Like I have all these lists and things in there and filters. I think it told me that there are 114 items on this list. Obviously not 114 individual items, but once you start counting up the multiples that I want to make of some things, it's 115 items that I would like to have made by this Saturday. Again, intellectually, cerebrally, if that's the right word, I know this is not going to get done, but emotionally, I keep telling myself, no, you can do this. You've got this. I mean, never mind your full-time job and your other commitments outside of crochet. You've got this. And I don't. I know I don't. It's not going to get done. So I am prioritizing based on what I think will do well at this market and also based on how sales have gone recently at other markets. And we'll see. We'll see how far we can get on this list. I will also be continuing to work on this list throughout the season. I have between now and December 7th, 5 confirmed markets and 2 unconfirmed markets. So a potential total of 7 markets in this next, 7-week period. So no, that can't be right because I have weeks that I'm not doing markets. Although I probably doubled up some of those. Anyway, 7-8 weeks maybe. Yeah. So I have 5 to 7 markets that I will be participating in that time frame. So this list is fluid. Things will be added to the list hopefully after this weekend because they've sold at the market, especially the mystery boxes that I plan on doing. Part of this list is I have a goal for myself to make 15 mochi axolotls. I still haven't finished the ones that I have, but I have 5 bodies constructed. I just need to put their faces on them and the accessories that go on top. And the reason why I chose 15 is because there are 5 different flavors that I've made. I've made the cherry, a blueberry, a mango, an Oreo cookie, and a matcha. The matcha is still buried in my bag that I take with me everywhere. So no progress made on that front, but they make up super fast. I believe I made all 5 of these in one sitting, like just watching TV with the kids. So it's not going to take a lot of time, but I just need to hunker down and do it. I plan on getting the other 10 bodies and the other 10 bodies made tonight. And then I can focus on the accessories and the faces and finishing them up and packaging them in my mystery boxes and designing the sticker that I'll put on front with the picture of each of them. So that's how I usually advertise my mystery boxes. And by usually, I mean the one other time I've had mystery boxes at my markets. But I liked that because it was right there on the front of the box and everybody saw it. And if you pick up the box, you'll still see what is inside. It's also, if things get moved around as they tend to do within the booth at a market, the picture is still right on the front of the box. It's very clear. People got it very, very clearly that, I mean, my first mystery box said Wizard House Mystery Box. It had a Hogwarts crest, simplified version that I had done. And in the place where each of the 4 mascots usually go, I put a picture of the mascot make that I had done. So, and that worked really well because the kids would see it and they'd be like, oh my gosh, mystery box. And the parents were basically doing the job for me of explaining, you will get one of these 4 in this box. This box has one of these in it. So that was really good. I felt that was really clear. Great way to market those at the market itself. I had them all standing on a tower, a shelving unit tower that I have. And I took them to 2 markets. I made 12, and between the 2 markets, I came back with 2. So I sold 10 over the course of 2 markets, 2 at a market that they weren't made for. I was testing them out there, and then 10 at the market that I had actually made them for, which was a wizarding themed market. And they went, which was awesome. So in that vein, instead of making more Hogwarts, Harry Potter, wizarding makes, I kind of like this idea of leaning into the theme with the mystery boxes specifically, because then that also makes them an exclusive of that market. So I have 2 foodie fairs coming up over the next 2 months. I will bring the mochi axolotls to mystery boxes to both of the foodie fairs, and that will be what the mystery box option is. And then they will not come with me to the other markets that I have. I have some other, I don't think the other ones have themes. I think the other ones are both sip and shops. So they'll be a little bit different audience, a little bit different, focus at those markets. So a little way that I can tailor what I'm offering to the audience that is specific to the market, which is good. Yeah. So in addition to that, so anyway, long tangent to explain, 15 of those 114 items are mochi axolotls. The other 100 are things that I would like to make to either replenish things that have sold out recently or to boost things that I haven't made since last season of this time of year, like hats, mitts, ear warmers, those cold weather accessories, because they sold at my markets last year, this season, but I haven't been selling them since about, I think March was the last time that I had the hats with me, and I put them in a sale. I put them on sale because they were out of season. So it was sort of like an end of season sale. And that's fine. I have some inventory left from last year. I don't have a lot of inventory left from last year, which is good on that front. So I need to boost that up. It's early in the cold weather accessories season here in North Carolina, but it is coming quickly since, I mean, we have a roller coaster of weather patterns. So who knows? It could be a hurricane one day, a beach day the next day, a blizzard the third day. Who knows what we're going to get. So people tend to not have these sorts of things on hand until necessary, and we never know when it's going to be necessary. So you could have a market where suddenly it's going to be 20 degrees the next day, or it's a night market and it's freezing cold and people don't have like hats and mitts with them because they haven't pulled it out of storage, or they haven't looked at the weather and anticipated that it's going to be cold and they might need it right then. So I like to have these things on hand for this time of year. But I am also giving myself the most grace with those things because of a couple reasons. Number one, they take longer to make than plushies in most cases. I don't crochet the accessories as much because I didn't start. That's a lie. It's not a lie. It's inaccurate. I started making wearables with knitting. So that is my comfort zone when it comes to wearables. I also tend to think that if it's something like a rib, like I have a head warmer, ear warmer, headband pattern that I follow, it's a 1x1 crochet rib, and I think I can do that faster knitting. So I use the same construction the pattern for the construction of it. It's one of the ones where you fold it origami style and sew it together to make the twist in the front. But I don't crochet it. I knit it because I have found that the crocheting takes me longer to do if it's a 1x1 rib, just because I could do a 1x1 rib knitting in my sleep at this point. Not really, but you know, it feels that way because it's just, the muscle memory is there. So I knit. It takes a little bit longer to knit some of the things. I also have a lot more patterns for knitting accessories than I do crocheting accessories. I have a couple things that I will crochet, namely a granny square beanie that I would like to sell more of. They get a lot of attention at the market because they're really pretty. I use the sunburst motif. So it's a sunburst granny square, and then I construct it into a beanie, and I pick coordinating colors, and everybody always comments on how pretty they are, but they haven't sold. So I'm hoping if I start early and have the inventory there, we'll get some traction with things like that. But my regular hats, my bun hats, my ear warmers, those all sell really well. And my fingerless mitts, I could barely keep them in stock last year. So those all sell really well. And the fingerless mitts, I do crochet. So it's a nice mix. But like I said, I'm giving myself a little more grace with the wearables than the plushies. I also feel like the audience is more broad for plushies for some reason. Having been in the business for 1 year now, I'm kind of seeing the patterns in that, and that they the people who want to buy the wearables want to buy the wearables, but they are fewer and farther between at the markets than the people who want to buy the plushies and the home decor and that sort of stuff. So I like to have a big mix, but yeah, again, Grace. So with all that rambling out of the way, let's talk about what I did make this week, and is in my trusty bin. Still haven't gotten a label to slap on it, but I have the bin here and I have the things that I have made. I actually did put my branded tags on them this week. I'm proud of myself. I tried to do that as I was doing the embroidery for the eyes, since I have a huge stack, and by huge I mean the prior 2 videos makes worth of items still sitting in a corner, well, not in a corner, but on a table in my office, waiting for the branded tags to be put on them. So that is something else that I'm going to have to do. I basically moved them from one bin to another bin that I had sitting in here so that this bin could be empty to be my weekly makes bin. So getting into that, I have made a shark. This shark plushie I made a couple weeks ago, the body and assembly, while sitting in the sidelines of sports activities. But I finally put the eyes on and the tag. There's my little tag. Aren't these cute? I gave my logo to this company off of Etsy, Zeus Hide. I think I've linked them in a prior video. And I have 2 different styles. This one, and then I'll show the other style on some of the other makes that I have in here. But they do such a fantastic job, and they're so fast, and they're great. I love these. And they have, you can get them plain like this so that you can attach it with a little bit of yarn, or, which I used acrylic yarn here, or, and I put these in a conference tin that I got last year. They come with brads. You can order them with brads. They don't call them brads, rivets. So you can just pop them on. So I use the rivets for my hats and my headscarves and my wearables, and I tend to use the embroidery on my plushies so that they're nice and soft and safe for littles. Since these just snap together, these would not be under 3 safe. Whereas this, it's sewn in, it's secure, it's safe. So, my shark. I have 4 sharks on my list that I would like to make, which is the most I've ever carried at once. I know we're heading into fall, but I have found that every market I bring sharks to, I sell out. People love the sharks. I love the sharks. I was desperate to make sharks earlier in the summer when it was coming up on Shark Week time, and I was like, I just have to make sharks, because I don't know why, but I don't know why, but people feel the way I do, and they love the sharks. This is a free pattern off of Instagram by the Yarning Portal, and I absolutely love it. It's a great pattern. I have a few of their patterns. I think I do the Among Us from them, as well as, do I have another Yarning Portal pattern? I must somewhere. So yeah, go check them out on Instagram. As usual, I will link all of the pattern designers and the patterns where I can in the description below. But yeah, make number 1 for this week is this fun shark in a variegated Bernat blanket yarn. Number 2, and I'm pretty much working this in reverse order of how I made them, because that's obviously how they're stacked in the box. But number 2 is this larger sea turtle. I did it in a sage green, and then this electric tangerine from Big Twist. This is a bigger, chunkier yarn than even Bernat, so I went up a hook size for Bernat. Plushie like this. Why can't I hold it upright correctly? I will typically use a 5mm hook, which I know makes me an absolute monster, but it is what it is. So I usually use a 5mm hook. For this one, I bumped up to whatever a K is, because my K, I think it's a 6.5 millimeter. My K does not tell me what the millimeter size is. It just says K on it. So that's what I used for the big twist. And I found that makes it manageable so that my hands are not screaming at me. I was trying to get by on the big twist at the 5 millimeter hook size. And I mean, my hands were just crying out for relief. It was too much. And so I wisened up and realized big twist is bigger than brunette. You need a bigger hook size. So I did that. I made this one nice and fat and squishy, which I love. Regular sea turtle. I have one bigger sea turtle. I think he's brown, so I wanted to have a buddy for him so he wasn't all by himself. And this is adorable. Again, and then I also made a couple more sunflower sea turtles. So this one, I used a variegated yarn for the body. I was inspired by the season, fall, autumn leaves. It's a sunflower on the shell, but sunflowers are a very fall adjacent plant. Or flowers. So I wanted to really lean in on this one to those fall color schemes. And I think it came out really cute. I love it. I love how the variegation worked on the face, especially. It's super cute. I'm also excited to use this yarn. I've used it before to make foxes. I used it this week on another make that I'll show you before the end, but I also want to make a cat, I think, with this yarn. I just love it. I think it's called Woodland Variegated. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Quickly became one of my favorites. In addition to, because it's one of the few easily accessible in this area browns that Bernat has to offer. I don't think we can get brown in person at a Michael's like anywhere. I think you have to order it online. And this I was able to get in my local Michael's store, despite the fact that the yarn never makes it to the shelves and you have to dig through the boxes. Yeah, so that makes it easier to accept. That's a lie. I did not get that at Michael's. Jen, you got that at Joann's during your end of an era. Joann's is going out of business supermarket sweep shopping experience that you went on. So I don't know how easy this yarn is going to be to get from now on. But I'm glad I grabbed more than one because I love it. It's beautiful. And it works really well with these other colors. Merlot is the darker red, which has fast become one of my favorite colors, and then terracotta for the orangey color. So I have that. And then I also made a more traditional sunflower sea turtle. And you can see I love the sea turtles because I put the labels on their tushies and I call them their little butt tats. I'm weird, I know, but I love their little butt tats. So anyway, I made a more natural colored sea turtle as well. And I think I have one more that I had made at a market. Yes, I can see it in my regular inventory bin over there. So that will give me 3 total sunflower sea turtles, which I think is a good number for fall. Especially since the sunflower sea turtles, like the sharks, but I mean, these guys were the first thing that I made to sell when I started this business last year. Tangent time. We were living in a temporary rental house because our house had a fire. The thing I saved after we made sure the family and the pets were out was my yarn stash. No lie. Saved the yarn stash. And that was right after we had decided, Christine at What's Up Cupcake and I had decided we were going to do these crochet businesses together. And so we were doing joint markets and I was moving. We moved so many times over the course of 4 months because that's how long it took to get back into our house. Our house was not, thank God, damaged in a way where it was unlivable. It was mostly smoke remediation, which was good. But we were traveling from hotel to temporary house to townhouse, back to hotel, and I would just bring these tubs of yarn and makes with me, and they would just get more and more and more full of yarn and makes because I would still go and buy the yarn and make the things. Very therapeutic. So Space for Sunflowers, really therapeutic business, has gotten me through literally hard times already in the small span since I've been in business. But anyway, the sunflower turtles were the first thing that I made and brought to the markets, and they are a crowd favorite. People love these little guys. I love these guys. It's a free pattern from Passionate Crafter, who is a duo of designers. They have a blog, and that's where they publish their content. But yeah, great little sea turtle. I love these guys. And my sea turtles, gosh, I would show you. I think the only one I have left from last year is the big brown one, and he's in storage, or not in storage, but he's in the tub ready to go to market. And the stitches on these are so much different in a year. I should pull him out one day if he doesn't sell, and just show you the difference between the stitches, because I started off doing the Bernat blanket yarn with the size K hook. So my stitches are a lot more open on my previous turtles, and now they're nice and tight and yeah, uniform. So amazing how in 1 year things can change in terms of consistency. Next up, I have a pair of hats. I was going to make my regular rib knit hats, which is the Hipstamatic pattern on Ravelry. I decided I wouldn't want to do that because I had the super fun variegated yarns that I had bought, the Karen Macchiato cakes, and I wanted to play with them. I was like, oh, I could make just a regular rib knit hat, but I was like, my bun beanies are kind of that. They use the same yarn. I'm like, and I don't want the bun beanies and the rib knit regular beanies to look exactly the same. So I use this pattern, which I think is called, I want to say it's called Pergati, and that might be right. It might be wrong. It's on Ravelry. I'll link to it. And I had made this hat previously as a gift for my son 1 year. And I remember it being fun, and it is. It's interesting enough to keep my mind entertained while I'm making it. And it's just so cute. I love it. I love the sort of rustic nature of the vertical ribs, and also that you have the horizontal stripes. I just think it just works so nicely. This uses a through the back loop. So the knit rib, the knit is a through the back loop knit. And that's true on the bottom rib as well. And it really makes the stitches stand out and give it sort of this textural quality to it, which I love. These are two different sizes. So this one is the medium size for an adult head. My head, again, is kind of small, but I started with the medium size because I wanted to make sure I had hats for a variety of head sizes. And this is in, I believe the colorway is called like Sunny, but it's like this pink and coral and yellow and orange, and it's really fun. And then the alternate or the contrasting color is, I'm not going to remember which is the gray and which is the neutral. It's either Fading or Whisper. One is the gray and one is the neutral. But anyway, so that's this one. And then this one I did using the Turbo Turquoise colorway and either Fading or Whisper, whichever one the gray one is now. And this is the small size. So it's still a pretty good sized beanie. You can see I have a little bit more trouble getting this one onto my head, but it fits. It's a little more snug. But yeah, this is the small size beanie. And then the other is the medium size beanie. I haven't made the large since I feel like this beanie in particular is pretty big and loose and very stretchy. Once it's done, I do a cable cast on, so my edge is extremely stretchy. It won't be tight around your head, which is nice. And yeah, so I will link the pattern designer and the pattern in the description. But I had a lot of fun making these. I made the blue one during soccer tournament this weekend. I made the red one while on a bus for a field trip where I was chaperoning for one of the kids' classes. And this is where I have the rivets and the other style of tag that I have. Can you see it? There we go. So yeah, so that's my abbreviated logo, and then my horizontal tags have the full logo on it. And both done by Zeuside, amazing. And this one I like because when you order these, you can pick your configuration. I ordered the ones that flip so that they're upright on both sides once it's flipped. On this hat, that really doesn't matter, but on some of the other hats I have where I make the brim longer and you can roll it up, that way it doesn't matter if you wear it down or if you wear it up, your tag is facing the correct way. Next up is, oh my gosh, one of my favorite patterns to come out of this year, the pocket dragon. This was my make for week 7 of crochet roulettes. Our challenge was a turquoise mythical creature, and I only have turquoise in one yarn, which is that turbo turquoise Karen macchiato cake that I was making the hats with. So luckily I also needed to make some more pocket dragons because these little guys, I mean, I can't say enough about this pattern. The designer is AR Serendipity Designs. This is a pattern that you can purchase through Etsy. This is the adult size. So it comes in a child size, which is a little bit smaller than this, an adult size, a plush size, and then there is also an add-on pack that you can get to make the square a flower square. So I have all of that. That's all of what I have. She has more. She also, when you buy the pattern, she gives you the file to print and cut your own tags for these, which is great. I have my own custom tags that I've designed that I use for all my products, but I'm not going to lie, I took a lot, not inspiration from her design, but inspiration from the fact that she had these custom tags at all to make my tags. So yeah, the design's totally different. Just the fact that somebody was using or including a design for a tag was inspiring. So love that. If you don't want to design your own, her tags are beautiful. It has a little illustration of the dragon on it. I couldn't even come to try to, oh man, so pretty. Love it. Highly recommend. So this size fits on your finger as a little gliding finger puppet. The plushy size, the whole head, you can stick your hand in and it's a puppet and it's like a big snuggly. But the fun thing about these is that they're multifunctional because it's a granny square. So you can use it as a bookmark. You can use it as a coaster. You can fold your dragon and stick it in a shirt pocket as a decorative pocket square, which is where the pocket dragon name comes from. I just think that is so creative and so fun. And now she's also released a bat pattern that goes with this. And they're just so fun. They're so cute. This yarn is a little bit bigger, thicker than the yarn you're supposed to use to make the dragons with, but I used the same size hook that I would use. This pattern calls for a worsted weight yarn and a larger hook, so your dragon body is a little bit floppy, and then to do the head, you go down a couple hook sizes, so it's a nice tight amigurumi. I love the shaping on the face. I mean, look at, I love the shaping with the bobbles for the nostrils. And then I always bring, when you sew, the only sew on this is the head to the body, and she does have a no-sew modification that you can get as well. If you buy the pattern, she includes the modification for free. It's not separate. But I always when I sew it on, I cut the string even longer than I need to so that I can whip stitch the head in and then bring it through and do some face shaping where the eyes go to help sink those in a little bit. And it works so well. I love it. Yeah. So that is my crochet roulette 2025 week 7 entry, the Gliding Pocket Dragon by AR Serendipity Designs, and a macchiato cake turbo turquoise. So fun. We're here at the last makes I have for this week. Acorns. These little guys are so freaking cute. Look at them. Here, I'll do that so you can see. Look at how adorable these are. And they are the acorn pops. So a nice little fidget toy. I haven't had a lot of success selling pops overall. They get attention. I have gnomes. So I have in this pattern pack, it comes with a whole bunch of different pops. They have little sunflowers. They have, which of course I've made the sunflowers. They have gnomes. I've made the gnomes. They have mushrooms. And I think this is cable and canvas. I'll link it below, but I believe this is cable and canvas. And they have the acorns. They have mushrooms. They have mushroom houses. And then they have acorns. So this is the first time I've made the acorns. And I love how this pattern comes together. It's so simple. However, it looks immediately like an acorn with its little tip, with the little hat, the cap. And I did a bunch of different colors. I did 3. I made 3. So I made them in different colors and played with light caps, light bodies, dark bodies, all with the little pops. And so cute. I only did 3 because, like I said, I haven't had a lot of success selling the pop toys, fidget toys. I think it's down to the way that I display them, to be perfectly honest. I tend to put them, I have like it almost looks like a rustic farmer's market basket. And I just sort of stuff them in there and people can root through it, but they don't really show them off in the best way. So for this market, I'm going to have to display them a lot better because I really think it being fall, it being Raleigh, our nickname is the City of Oaks, and this market being downtown in the same park where we do our New Year's Eve celebration, where in Raleigh, we drop an acorn. I think these will get more attention if I do a better job of displaying them this time. And also they're just super cute. I really want them to get attention. I would love to make more of these. So the little mushroom pops, I believe they're from Cable and Canvas. If that's wrong, I apologize, but I will link the pattern and the designer down below as always. So that's this week. Next week, I should have more footage throughout the week. I was not good this week about taking footage or sharing or posting even on Instagram. I just been hunkered down, A, trying to get through life, B, trying to get all the makes I can ready for this market this week. But there are a few things that I'll have to do leading up to Saturday that will force me to need to share some footage. So that would be, or take some footage. That will be good. I have pricing, I have inventorying, I have mystery boxes to prep. So I should have a more, I don't want to say more interesting. Gosh, my video is boring. I should have a more varied video next week, as well as market recapping from Saturday. So hopefully the next time I see you, there will be more to share than me sitting at my desk showing off plushies. And I will have a market recap from my first ever foodie fair in downtown Raleigh. Have a great week, and I will see you all next Tuesday.